Hello, and welcome to the Get Lean and Eat Clean podcast. My name is Brian Grin. I'm a certified health coach, trainer, and author. And this podcast is for middle-aged men and women looking to optimize their health and get their bodies back to what it once was 10 to 15 years ago. I will give you simple, actionable items to get long-term sustainable results. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show. All right. Welcome to the Get Lean, Eat Clean podcast. My name is Brian Grin, and I hope you had a great weekend and happy Tuesday. If you're listening to this on Tuesday, hopefully you listened on Friday to my interview with Melanie Avalon. She was great. Tons of great biohack tips. And we talked about wine. We talked about drinking the correct water, many different things all around MCT oils. So definitely check that out. And it made me want to talk about water, actually. We just touched on it briefly with Melanie, and she talked about deuterium depleted water, which I'm still learning more about. But I don't know. I just try to find, these hacks that can be sort of simply and easily done and make the biggest impact. And I think water is really one of them. And I'm a victim of it too. I probably don't drink enough water as it is. I have a filtration system in the house, which I think is quality, which is good. But most people make mistakes of either not drinking enough, drinking low quality, unclean water, and not mineralizing that water. So I tend to buy, sometimes I'll get some spring water. Liquid Death is a brand I use a lot. They have some sparkling water and some mineralized water as well. So check that company out. It's cool. It comes in aluminum cans, so no more plastic. If you're drinking out of plastic, I think you're behind the times a little bit. I would just eliminate that. We've heard enough about how the plastic can leak into the water. But let's talk about drinking water intelligently, the benefits. There's a lot of benefits. And I thought it would be important to have an episode on water because it is one of those things that I think we take for granted. And hydration can be a little bit tricky in the sense that, how much do we drink? What type of water should we drink? There's all these different things. So I'm going to try to simplify it as much as I can, and you can take it for what it is. But quite literally, we really can't live without water. So I think it's important to talk about. It's one of those principles that get overlooked a lot. And our body's actually made up of 60% of water. So to say that it's important is an understatement. Now, the problem with a lot of water out there is these tap waters are contaminated with chlorine, fluoride, heavy metals, pharmaceuticals, and other like health sapping toxins. And most bottled water, like I mentioned before, is not good either. These cheap plastic bottles have been shown to leach endocrine disrupting chemicals in the water. So, I play golf over the summer. I've made it a habit to have my own water bottle, which obviously is not plastic, and I just refill that. That'd be a good habit to get into. Well, let's talk about some of the benefits to drinking ideal volumes of pure mineral-rich water, and I'll tell you how you can do that. One of them is improved cognitive function and mood. There's some research that's demonstrated that being dehydrated by only 2% of our body weight impairs cognitive performance and dampens your subjective mood. So a state of ideal hydration can keep the brain's detoxification mechanisms running smoothly. Number two, healthier, better looking skin. While a lot goes a long way, having bright, youthful skin and staying hydrated is a critical factor. I think that gets overlooked a lot, but your skin is a huge organ on your body. And if you're slightly dehydrated, it's going to pull water from your skin in order to ensure that the vital organs stay hydrated. So the more you're hydrated, the brighter, healthier looking skin and softer skin will tend to look. You want to you can also have improved toxin elimination. You talk about eliminating toxins from the body and decreasing inflammation. Well, the body needs water to move and expel toxins via the lymphatic fluid, sweating, urination. Something I've been working on is, I'm luckily that I can go in a sauna quite a bit. So doing some sweating is really important, but I have to make sure that I rehydrate. Because when we're less than ideally hydrated, our detoxification systems slow and toxins can accumulate. So that is number 3. Number 4, improved gut health and digestion. So if you're not having complete regular bowel movements, you could be underhydrated, something that also doesn't get talked a lot about. So if you're not adequately hydrated, your body is going to shuttle available water to your essential organs, and your GI tract is not at the top of the list. So movements of having, like, it's called I say this 20 times, peristalsis. It's slow peristalsis, and you're heading towards constipation. That's just a movement of the intestines. So in most parts of the country, tap water is treated with chlorine, chloramine, and fluoride. All of these are antibacterial and surprisingly harmful to the gut. So essentially, if you're not having regular bowel movements, you might be dehydrated, underhydrated. And if you're drinking tap water with chlorine, chloramine, and fluoride, you could be causing some issues in the gut. So, which leads to my next point, avoiding chlorine, fluoride, and other contaminants. Now, you can see your tap water and go online and see the quality of your tap water. I think in general, Chicago has decent tap water, but most municipal water is treated with chlorine and fluoride. So you also have to keep out for heavy metals as well. So all of these contaminants have been shown to negatively impact your gut flora and disrupt endocrine hormonal function. So those were some of the benefits, and some of could be the downsides of not having adequate hydration. So what should you do? Well, I would be drinking spring water only. You can actually search. I was on this, it's called findaspring.com, and I can put a link where you can find clean springs near you. There's some not too far from me, but drinking spring water, or even like some type of filtered water. There's something called Berkeley filtered water and reverse osmosis. And then how much should you drink? Drinking enough water is probably more than you think. What I've seen from some of the studies is 0.6 to 1 ounce of water per pound of body weight in any 24-hour period. So that's sort of a wide range, 0.6 to 1 ounce of water per body weight. So for me, I'm about 170. So that'd be almost 170 ounces of water. Now, I probably don't get that much, but it also depends on where you live, what climate you live. I mean, obviously, if you're down south and you're sweating more, and your activity level is high and it's dry there, you want to probably be on the upper range of 1 ounce of water per body weight. So depending on where you live, right now in Chicago, it's not as much. I probably don't need to get quite that as much water as maybe someone that lives down south in Florida. And also just keep in mind that you want to remineralize this water. So like, let's just say you filter the water, right? And you have a good filtration system, right? That takes the contaminants from your water. It also is going to remove a lot of the beneficial minerals and electrolytes. And this is also important if you're fasting, right? You want to stay hydrated. It'll make the fast go a lot easier as well. So while the water is clean because you filtered it, you want to sort of put back the minerals back into it. And because if you're drinking mineral devoid filtered water, that can pull minerals from your body over time, potentially creating some type of deficiency. So this empty water that you cleaned out, you want to remineralize. I use a mineral drop that I'm drawing a blank on the name, but there's a bunch out there. One of them is called Hydros Trace Mineral and Electrolyte Drops. There's one on Amazon that I get as well, and you can sort of remineralize your water with these drops. And lastly, you want to drink warm water first thing in the morning. This would be a good habit to get into. I tend to have water in the morning. Is it warm? Not quite, but you want to have body temperature water. Fully dehydrating first thing in the morning, sort of brings all your body systems back online, and you might notice some benefit in your brain function and digestion. So it's almost like a call to action to get going, because overnight, surprisingly, I found this, the average person loses about 1 liter of water every night during sleep due to normal respiration and perspiration. So 1 liter of water every night, that's about 2.2 pounds of water. And if you live somewhere dry, it could be more than that. So you're losing water overnight. So get up, drink some warm water in the morning, maybe a little bit of lemon in there as well. And that's a perfect way to start the day. So there you have it, all about water. I'm still learning about this. I know with Melanie, we talked about deuterium depleted water, which I think can run pretty expensive if you're drinking that all the time. I think most important, good quality water filtration, remineralize, drink first thing in the morning, and just maybe start tracking water. You can get one of these big, glass bottles where, you sort of can put it where you want it to be. You see these weightlifters walking around the gym in them, but I think it can go a long way if you just sort of track it that way and just have one big bottle. Might not fit in your car, but either way. So hopefully this helps, maybe gets you motivated to drink clean water, drink enough of it, remineralize, and drink first thing in the morning. So hope you appreciate this one. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks for listening to the Get Lean, Eat Clean podcast. I understand there are millions of other podcasts out there, and you've chosen to listen to mine, and I appreciate that. Check out the show notes at briangrin.com for everything that was mentioned in this episode. Feel free to subscribe to the podcast and share it with a friend or family member that's looking to get their body back to what it once was. Thanks again, and have a great day.